hearty good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the first Automotive Steel Summit in Delhi, organized by the steelgroup.co.in. Well, as we're formally about to inaugurate, the one tradition that we follow in our country is with the auspicious lighting of the lamp. I'd like to request my team member to kindly step forward, and I'm going to request our dignitaries to please light the lamp and give it a beautiful start to this program. Well, let's have a round of applause as we have formally inaugurated the program. I'm going to request Mr. Tambe to please present the mementos to all of our dignitaries as well on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the Steel Group was formed by Mr. Ajay Tambe in the year 2010 as a business networking platform. In fact, in the year 2013, the concept of focused conferences was initiated to bring the users as well as the suppliers of steel on a common platform. And on that note, I'd also like to take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Ajay Tambe to our august members of the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tambe is a BE Mechanical from the Regional Engineering College in Durgapur and started his career from the Ispat Industries Limited, now the JSW Steel, in the year 1993. In fact, later he also worked for the Flat Products Equipments, now known as the CMIFP, one of the largest equipment supplier for steel processing, and got the opportunity to move across the world and developed a very good network and contacts in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, to give a head start to this beautiful conference, please put your hands together and let's welcome on stage Mr. Ajay Tambe.
Good morning. Thank you, Kavya, for such introduction. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in Automotive's event. As Kavya mentioned, Steel Group was formed as a business networking platform with a motive to bring users and the steel industries together. Today, the objective is to understand the needs of automotive industry and to understand the challenges faced by the steel industry to match the needs of auto industry. We will also have some market highlights today, what is the future and what is the present scenario. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you today in this event. Most of the people are from the steel industry as well as from automotive industry. Today, particularly in India, the total automotive production, including two-wheelers, four-wheelers, including heavy trucks, commercial, is about 25 million vehicles a year. So these 25 million vehicles with more than 180 million of tires and with 10 million tons of steel, this is what drives the economy as of now. So we import gold worth about $50 billion and we import oil, lubricants also about $50 billion. It used to be about $80 billion, but after the downturn in the economy and downturn in the oil economy basically, the level has come down. 3 million cars in a year and 70 million the other vehicles. They are putting economy into a real drive. Indian steel industry supplies about directly, indirectly, semi-finished, finished 10 million ton. That is 10% of the steel capacity in the country. 100 million ton is our capacity, though we have not reached to 100 million, but I'm sure, I think this year or maybe next year, we will become number 2 steel producers in the world, crossing 100 million ton level. Today, undisputedly, worldwide, China is the largest steel producer, about 800 million ton, and followed by Japan, and then US and India. So I think India will cross all other countries and will place itself to the level 2, I mean the number 2 position. The ambitious plan by Toyota, by Hyundai, also by Suzuki, they aim to export from India, and they want to make India as an export hub. I think a good opportunity exists for the Indian business people to put up their shops in Bangladesh. NTPC is putting 1,300 megawatt of power plant. Reliance is putting 1,300 megawatt power plant, coal base. And equipment suppliers are BHEL, turbine also BTR, the complete. Then Indian Railway is negotiating a very big deal with Bangladesh Railway. Bangladesh is the largest importer of power now from India. So 2,500 megawatt power is being imported from Eastern Grid, which is a very large amount of the power at 230 kV. So thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy this session today. Thank you.
So good morning from my side, and first of all, I would like to say thanks to Mr. Tambe. I'm basically a chemical engineer. So starting with what I can speak about auto industry, how it is moving, then comes to the what is vital role, what steel industry has to play with us moving forward, and how they can contribute to our economy in terms of corrosion, surface finish, and other global aspect. We are talking about CO2 emissions, global warming, and body weight reduction, increasing the mileage, and other aspect. And there are some expectations which we need to raise, as you have expectation from automobile, what we supposed to do with you as a partner.
Good morning to all. I am King Shuk Roy. I'm a graduate in metallurgical engineering from NIT Raipur. Before I start, I must thank Mr. V.R. Sharma, who in his keynote address has brought out very clearly the key tasks ahead when it comes to steel industry and automotive industry complementing each other and thereby moving ahead in terms of the plan and the strategy ahead. So in my presentation, I would touch upon very briefly on the automotive Indian snapshot that has already been covered a lot in the previous presentation, followed by the trend changes which has caught up in the auto industry over the last year and how it has come to India too. And given this as the backdrop, how has JSW Steel geared up to meet this trend change? And lastly, I would like to share with you on some of the global trends which in JSW we have come to learn by virtue of our membership with the World Auto Steel, wherein we meet twice in a year and the body shares with all its members regarding the key moves being taken in the steel industry to meet the changing needs of the automotive industry.
So can we have an enthusiastic round of applause to welcome all of our speakers here for our next session?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. To begin with, I mean, lots of emphasis had been laid on regarding crashworthiness, regarding everything else. But one of the key aspects is why particularly only steel for automotives? Why not some alternate material? It could have been, and there was a strong lobby for aluminium, which had been lobbying for aluminium to be used, such as to lightweight the vehicle, such as to reduce the vehicular weight and thereby reducing the emissions. However, one of the things that went in favor of steel was its higher modulus of elasticity, whereas the aluminium possessed only 70 kilonewton per mm square. Steel had 210 kilonewton per mm square as modulus of elasticity. Steel had positive strain rate sensitivity, means on impact its strength was going up, thereby helping the crashworthiness. In addition to that, steel was fire resistant, so was aluminium, but was not plastic. Then steel was providing high economy efficiency, favorable properties for diverse applications. There was a lightweight potential, as my friends have already talked about regarding ultralight steel auto bodies, and there was a part integration ability.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Ravi Asudani. I am the newest member to the sales team of EMG Automation India Private Limited. We just saw our friends, our seniors talking about grades, better yields, etc. I believe this is all related to quality. Here, representing EMG, I would now talk about measuring, so-called, the quality which can further be integrated with controlling parameters and hence producing the right steel for automotive industry.
May I further invite Mr. Kondapalli Venkat to please come on the stage as well?
Remember, we'll be having a very, very interesting and engaging Q&A session. Let's ask, controversial questions. Let's address contentious issues. Humble and an honest intention to find solutions to age-old problems or the new problems which have cropped up. There was, there's BIS regulation on everyone's head, and the foreign the car makers, probably three of us, that we are not able to, procure the steel the way we want from some foreign countries. Why this BIS regulation? But then every country protects its industry. It is not something new. So that's how the discussion is going to be planned. So Mr. Raghuvanshi, starting straight with you, if you could just give us a small half-a-minute introduction to your company and how it contributes to India and global steel diaspora.
We represent steel strip wheels. We are one of the largest steel wheel manufacturers in this country, and practically quite a large consumption of steel. We are doing close to about 180,000 tons of steel we're using every year for our 3 plants. And we have a plant situated in Chandigarh. The major plant is in Chandigarh. Then we have Jamshedpur and we have Chennai. And we are setting up an alloy wheel plant, which is in the state of Gujarat.
I work for SR, and we at SR have got 10 million ton of steel capacity. And that is roughly about 20% or 25% of the flat steel demand or capacity in the country. So I think the relationship or the close bondage between SR and the auto fraternity has been right from the start. And we were one of the first company to invest heavily into steel service centers, about 5 of them across the length and breadth of the country. We have invested huge amount of money. It was all direction towards catering to the automotive needs. And I think, as my friend Mr. Raghuvanshi said, Indian steel industry in general is well poised to cater to all the needs of automobile manufacturers in the country.
So, Mr. Shankar, you in a way can be a neutral person for the steel industry. So when this contentious issue of BIS and suddenly a notification, in December, and date of compliance by mid-March, and then, some reliefs here and there, MSP and this and that. So what is your take on the, though one should say global steel makers, global steel mills, but still say a foreign steel mills vis-a-vis the Indian steel mills. What is your take on that?
See, I mean, without being too nasty about it, but I would like to borrow a term from what Trump tweeted last night. Ted Cruz came and did what he had to do, but no big deal. Frankly, the BIS and all of that is really no big deal. I think what's going to happen into the auto industry and the way the supply side from the steel perspective and the consumer side, the things that are going to change are humongous. In fact, I don't know how many of you guys really are into a lot of thinking on those kind of things. I'm sure you are. There was one thing my good friend Zubin mentioned to me at lunch break. He said, capital in India is dwindling. Where do I invest? What's happening? But the real capital that's dwindling today, world over, is the natural resources.
So challenges in the European Union area. Of course, the economy has been quite bad during the past years there, and now let's say that slowly the economy is getting better in Europe. So situation is getting a little bit better.
Yeah, see, as you have rightly said, that Make in India is not only for steel, it is not only for auto. It is for the industry as a whole. And in that context, I think steel has a very important role to play. I think everybody will agree. We are talking about auto here, but even auto is made of mostly steel.
Absolutely.
So I at least being a steel man, I say that steel is very important. It was important. It will continue to be important. In the context of auto industry, in fact, I was going through one report of World Steel Association. They are talking about third generation materials for auto, and they are underlining the fact that steel is going to play a major role in the third generation vehicles also.
Now, we will like to throw open the session into Q&A, because that's how the audience can also participate. Please feel free to ask your questions.
Sir, I mean, talking about the Make in India initiative, I mean, all this, I mean, steel companies are definitely making in India, but why is it that over the last few years, I mean, there's a huge chunk of iron ore being imported from China? Is it because the quality of iron ore in India is low, substandard or below par? Or is it because there's an availability crunch? Or is it because, I mean, it makes more sense to, I mean, import from China?
China doesn't export any iron ore, they import. It is a net importer of iron ore, they don't export. Yeah, so that's what. So that is part one of your question. The reason why this import happened was that there was a government order or a Supreme Court order on the mines in Orissa. So there was a shortfall and shortage of availability of iron ore suddenly for some mines had to be re-auctioned and reopened. And there was a availability glut in the country. Even Tata Steel, we have got their mine, they also had to face some shortage. And therefore the import of iron ore happened. And there was one more minor reason, was that the iron ore prices in the country are controlled by NMDC.
I'm P.P. Sarkar from Steel Tech Journal. India produces about 90 million tons steel, whereas China is exporting 115 million tons steel. Why is that we cannot compete with China? Is it because of our raw materials are not given captive, logistic cost is high? Some reply.
I don't know really, is the Chinese model is the best model? At least I don't support that. And see, China has today, as per my information, they have a capacity of around 1,200 metric tons, and their production is about 700, 800. Last year, this year it has reduced, but it is in between that. So that means they have excess capacity of the order of 500 or 600 million tons.
So I think that's a very important point. It is not just overcapacity and mindlessly just exporting globally and making enemies of your other countries, but how to manage your reasonable capacities and to ensure quality and good profits for yourself.
I'm Kapil.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I have a service center in Chennai.
Right, right.
Yeah. There is, in this forum, there's a person who consumes steel. There's a person who manufactures steel. There's a person who controls steel. I want to know what is the future of MIP.
Okay. See, if you have heard my speech in the beginning, what I have told, we being the steel ministry, our aim is to protect the interests of the steel industry, number one. Number two, it is not only protecting the steel industry as such. If you see the today total loans of bank, 50% is for steel and 50% rest of the steel. So that means the country's economy in a way is linked to this growth and development of steel industry. So in that context, we had practically, basically what we did, when we brought in this MIP, it was basically a measure to see that the steel industry, which were all running in losses, are not, they don't sink. So before they were sinking, we have tried to give them some respite and we have brought in, and now things are much better. But the things are not as good as it should be. So our viewpoint is that it should continue.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank you for coming back. I want to thank Mr. Tambe and the Steel Group for putting on this auspicious event. A lot of very interesting information today. But we're going to do something completely different. We're going to talk about sealer. There's been a lot of talk today about corrosion, and sealers are used extensively throughout the body making process for the sole purpose of preventing corrosion and extending the life of the automobile. So let's start by taking a look at the history and how it came to be. Now, I'm from Detroit, where this whole automotive thing started. And prior to the 1980s, rust was just a part of the life cycle of an automobile. And it started in the rocker panels and the lower doors. It spread to the floor pans. And then the wheel wells raced the bumpers to see who would fall off first.
To introduce first, very quickly, my company is FIV. We are an engineering group serving different industries, including steel. We are existing since more than 200 years. We celebrate our 200th birthday in 2012. And particularly in steel, maybe some of you know us as with our former name, which was Standard for rating furnace. But we are as well having a big reference in processing line. This is my topic.